So Sean Lennon here with the Fightlete Report, and we have a new guest on the Fightlete Report. Right now we welcome new UFC Women's Flyweight Victoria to Fury Leonardo on the Fightlete Report. She defeated Chelsea Hackett to win Contender Series Week 10, earned that UFC contract, and a former competitor in Invicta FC as well, and trades in Shreveport. Now she'll be fighting Natalia Silva at the UFC Fight Night January 30th on ESPN Plus, and we welcome you to be on the Fight Report at Shreveport, Louisiana, of course. I had another state down, but we welcome you onto the show. Tell us how you're doing, and I hope everything's going well.
Thanks for having me on the show. Everything's going good, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm just getting all this USADA stuff done. So I just got an email about all that and having to, report on my whereabouts, and they have a little app, and so it's been interesting, but fun.
Sure. Definitely. I know it's probably different from you because I know Invicta FC more of like they don't have like the USADA ruling. You kind of have to pay for the medicals outside the promotion, correct?
Correct.
A little different. So talk about that. Like, did that bother you at all? Were you ready for it, or how they have to show up randomly?
Oh, well, they haven't shown up randomly yet. They're getting me into the program, so they had me, take like online tutorials, and you like take a little quiz at the end, like some people have to do for their jobs to make sure they're paying attention. So none of the questions were too hard. I think I aced the quiz.
Okay, good luck. That sounds great. Talk about that opportunity to fight on Contender Series, and the preparation leading to it.
So we got the call, I think it was like maybe 3 weeks before the show. We kind of had like an idea that, once I got back in the win column with Invicta, that there may be a last minute opportunity when my manager said, just be ready. That's all he gave me. Just be ready. You never know. And so that moment came, and it came in an interesting week in my life. So I was actually at the ballpark watching my daughter play softball, and that day I'd been to the doctor because I was covered in poison oak that I got from my husband who was helping cut down trees, and like used a towel that he didn't put in the laundry, and then I used the towel and got it all over me. And so it was like it was a crazy, crazy week. And then we got that call, and I was like, okay, I'll take the fight, even though I'm covered in poison oak and I got like a few weeks to get rid of it. But it ended up working out, and here we are.
For sure. And, were you surprised by that call, or did you expect that it would be coming by the end of the year?
I was hoping it'd be coming by the end of the year. I wouldn't say I was too surprised, but at the same time, it's like a call of a lifetime. So it felt surreal for sure. It was like, okay, this is really happening.
And then you came off the big unanimous decision win. It was also Fight of the Night and Invicta in September. So how confident were you going into the fight with Chelsea?
I felt pretty confident because, we look at all of our opponents to the best of our abilities. We look at whatever videos we can find of them. We use Tapology. So I had an idea of the quality of opponents that she faced compared to the quality of opponents I'd faced at Invicta. And, Invicta is such a great organization for that. They really have some high-level girls there, and I feel like Liz is one of them. I feel like Stephanie Geltmacher is one of them that, I feel like if she was from like another country or something, she would be in the UFC already, because she's got knockout power. She's a 4-time All-American wrestler. I'm like, okay, well, she has a similar record to Chelsea. Why is she not, there yet? But I don't know. I don't want to talk too much crap, but right. I feel like Invicta's got these great girls that people may be overlooking. They're right here in our own country. So
definitely. So talk about also after the fight, obviously it went your way. You got the big finish. Then the Dana White, made some comments as recap, mentioned some comments about your opponent and maybe not being the most challenging. Like, how confident still that you would be chosen? And was there any plans if you weren't chosen that you had in mind?
Yeah, it was a little, I don't have the best poker face, I guess, when I was sitting in the chair. So I'm sure that people could tell when he was talking about my opponent being one-dimensional, like my face, it just had that look on it, like I wasn't very happy at that in that split second. But I mean, we knew that going into the Contender Series, there's a chance that you could win and not be signed. And so we're like, you know, if that happens, that happens. The only thing I could focus on in the moment is winning. That's the only part I can get to. Like, I can't, you know, think that far ahead, because you don't want to think that far ahead. It's going to mess with your performance. So I just tried not to think about it too much before the fight. And then after, when she said that, I kind of felt, or when Dana said that, I kind of felt a little cheated, because they hyped this girl up so much. Right. You know, they had Alexander Volkanovski, they had one of his quotes about her. They talked so highly of her. And then it was like, when I beat her, it was like, oh, well, then she wasn't that good. But then again, you know, Dana doesn't look at these fighters ahead of time. So he's not the one actually hyping the fighters up. So I don't know. It was kind of weird, but then, you know, thank God I was the first fight, because he had a lot of time to think about it, and he decided that wasn't my fault, and I did what I was supposed to do. And so I'm glad he came to that conclusion.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, Shannon App recently, she made a post, you know, congratulating you as well. So I'm sure that had to be, you know, really great to get the adulation of the former promotion that you were part of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And I was happy to give them some word of mouth on the Contender Series, because I think they deserve it. They're a great promotion, and I'm honored and happy to come from that promotion and to have that background and to have been given those opportunities.
Will you miss like the weigh-ins? I know in Invicta FC they have the really fun weigh-ins. You can dress up. I know you dressed up before. I think you were Goku. So is that something you're going to be kind of like missing?
Yeah, I guess I'll miss it a little bit. Yeah, I knew when I was doing that, I would only get a few opportunities, or, you know, that I might not always get that opportunity, I should say, to do that kind of thing. So I tried to make the best of it. And then, like, sometimes I'm just not in the mood in fight camp to make a costume or go through all that. But I think it's fun. I think people like to see it. And you can still kind of do that with the UFC. You just have to use a prop or something, because, you know, you have to wear their stuff. But yeah, I'll miss that a little bit for sure.
Yeah, it's always a fun time for the Invicta weekends. I see like everybody's just so into it, and you have like a real hardcore fan base too. So I'm sure a lot of that will follow you to UFC as well. A lot of them. Talk also about, you know, your next fight. Obviously, it was announced, Natalia Silva, January 30th, UFC Fight Night, ESPN Plus, and like the preparations for this opponent. And any thoughts of it maybe happening on Fight Island? We're not sure of the location yet. Maybe you are privy to know, but I'm not.
They haven't told me anything yet. And yeah, so we looked at Natalia. She looks like a good opponent out of Brazil, and you know, this will be her debut as well. She seems to have excellent striking, good jiu-jitsu, has a pretty well-rounded background. We've already started working on striking components in my game that we think will counter her as well. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I kind of, part of me hopes it's at Fight Island, and part of me is like, okay, that's a long trip. I would rather, you know, not have to fly that far. But I thought about it the other day, and Invicta, you know, has been doing their fights during, you know, all this COVID stuff. They've had Fight Church, and I was like, if I go to Fight Island, will I be the first fighter to do Fight Church and Fight Island? So that could be cool. So I don't know. We're still in the dark too. I don't know where it will be at.
Yeah, is that intriguing to you? Like, kind of like the activities that lead up to the Fight Island. You know, you get to dress up. You also get to, you know, the beach and kind of like, you know, chill out for your team.
Yeah, that would be really cool. The pictures I've seen, it's super gorgeous over there. So, right. Like summer vacation in the middle of winter.
I mean, you have that freedom when, you know, unfortunately with Vegas, you'd have to quarantine at the really entire time. So I'm sure that'd be enticing as well.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like this fight's coming at the right time for you? Are you glad that you could just get that opportunity to make your official UFC debut out of the way?
Yeah, I feel like it's the right time. I feel like it's you know, I like having something, on the calendar. And that's one of the things I struggled with, with smaller promotions. Like, okay, well, when's your next card going to be? And like, well, we don't know yet, and we'll let you know. And like, no, you tell the UFC, and they're like, okay, we'll get you one. And I think in my post Contender Series interview, I was like, I want to enjoy, the holidays, and then maybe, you know, January, February, and they came with the offer, and I was like, okay, that's perfect. So, this will probably be one of the longest fight camps I've had in a long time. 8 weeks is a good long bit to prepare for a fight. So I'm excited to have it on the calendar and have something already ready for me to focus on.
And you mentioned the holidays, so how will that be for you this year? Have you ever had a fight that you had to deal with, train and preparation, and also, having holidays before that?
Yeah, I mean, I've, you know, had terrible Thanksgiving meals before. I don't know that I've had it so close to Christmas that I couldn't enjoy Christmas a little bit. So, and I think I'll still be able to enjoy Christmas a good bit this year. So I mean, this is something I've been doing a while. So I've learned to work around holidays. I've had birthdays. I was cutting weight once for one of my Invicta fights during my birthday. So
Definitely. Oh wow, that's crazy to think of as well. But I'm sure it'll be worth it for you in the long run too.
yeah.
And also, when you look at the, making this fight against Natalia, do you feel like the fans are anticipating to see more of you? Maybe the ones that haven't seen your Invicta fights, because we only got to see the quick knockout, the big finish, and you look like that you could display everything that you've been working on, from your ground game, striking, and everything in between. Like, is that an anticipation you feel that will be met and that you're excited to show off?
Yeah, I'm excited to show off what I can do. I feel like, I didn't show off a ton of my striking ability, and in this last fight, and she was really quick, and she had a really strong striking pedigree. So I didn't want to take too many chances with that. So I was, I'm not gonna lie, the game plan was to get her to the cage and get her down, and so I went there, and so I think it'll also clear up. I feel like, um, as Dana White said, they thinks that she's one dimensional, and it maybe makes people think that my ground game's not as good. So I'm excited to show what I can do even against someone who also has, knowledge on the ground.
Definitely. And talk about your friend, Andrea KGB Lee. She's also a fellow fighter from Shreveport. I know you've
Right.
trained together before. And now she's taking on Jillian Robertson, UFC 256. So, like, are you excited to see her fight, next weekend?
Yeah, I'm always excited to see her fight. I think she'll do good against Jillian, and I think Roxanne Modafferi's such a good, so good on the ground. I think someone could easily look at Andrea's last fight and think that she's not as good on the ground as she is. And so I think it'll be an interesting fight against Jillian, because that's Jillian's base. And I think Andrea can meet her there and compete with her there and even beat her there. So I'm really excited. I'm always glad to get to train with Andrea. That wasn't something they talked about too much before. My last fight, they talked about Chelsea training with Beck Rawlings. I'm like, well, hey, I trained with Andrea Lee before this fight. No one said anything, but she's a pretty good UFC flyweight.
I agree. I mean, it was kind of funny not having her like in the little corner there, mentioning you. But it's going to be exciting, obviously, to see her perform. And we've had her on the show, and big part of Invicta and LFA as well. Kind of like you both took that similar journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Of all
Yeah.
the yeah, and it's cool that like Invicta and like the LFA, they actually let you fight for both.
Yeah, that's one of the things I loved about Invicta. I could always get in touch with them and let them know, like, hey, if you're not going to use me in the next few months, I have this fight offer, and they would always be, good about letting me fight. Like that time I fought for Bellator, I was still under contract with Invicta. And then, when I had to call them and ask, hey, can I be on the Contender Series, they had to let me out of their contract. So they've always been really good about that. And that's one of the great things about their promotion.
True. And I know you've also had boxing fight on your resume. I'm not sure if it was an exhibition fight or, a standard fight, but is that something that you would also think about in the future?
I don't know. It's kind of MMA is so all consuming. So it'd be kind of hard to have like boxing matches. But yeah, that was that was called the Sparta. I forget what it's called now. It was a tournament that I did. So it was in Colorado that we had a boxing match and a kickboxing match. And had I won the kickboxing, the final was an MMA fight. And then that was the only one that wasn't an exhibition, was the MMA fight. So.
Definitely. Yeah, some great memories there, I'm sure, for you. And, we've seen, Mike Tyson get back in the ring. So there's this all interest in boxing. I think a lot of crossover appeal with Conor McGregor and whatnot.
Yeah, right now I just want to focus on my UFC debut. So I can always, go down that route later.
Definitely. Also, what can we expect in your official debut? I mean, obviously this is coming up soon, but what can fans expect that just saw a hint of what you had to offer on Contender Series?
I would say that they can expect some more of that. I want to be known as a finisher. I want to be exciting. I've always thought of myself as an exciting fighter, so I hope to continue that. And hopefully show some more of my striking abilities and just everything else that I can do. And then, that was just a glimpse. So I hope they'll stay tuned and see more of what I have to offer.
Definitely. Well, we wish you best of luck, wherever the fight takes place. And congratulations, of course, making it to UFC, and well-earned, well-deserved as well. And if anybody wants to follow you, how can they follow you on social media?
Ooh, okay. So hold on. I always forget my handles. So let me look real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram at Leo_Fury16. And my Twitter handle is, well, first of all, Facebook is Victoria Fury Leonardo. And then Twitter is at VLeo0216.
Definitely. I think you're most active on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Instagram.
Cool.
I'll occasionally Twitter, but not that often.
Right. Some fighters are just rapid fire on that,
It's hard. Twitter is such a cesspool sometimes. It's like some crazy people on Twitter.
That's true. Well, we are so happy to have you on the show, and make everybody put it on your calendar, January 30th.
That's
Victoria,
right.
the Fury Leonardo, will be taking on, of course, Natalia Silva, UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus. And again, it's been a pleasure, Victoria, to chat with you, and you're welcome back on the Fight Report anytime soon. Best of luck in your fight.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for having me.